Hello, YouTube land, and welcome to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 53, right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel. And of course, joining me like always, Caleones. How you doing, Caleones?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? And yeah, just one more day over here. Talking about the daily news for the week for Nintendo and on all Nintendo systems. If they still pretend like the 3DS is alive. But I want to say hi to Zero Propenso. Welcome to the chat. Welcome, Nike Boy 94529. Welcome, Margie G. Hello. Welcome everybody to the chat. Linky is here as well. Dantes, we are getting some people on here, so go ahead and get it started.
Well, let's do a rigmarole quickly so we can get to the news. That's what you came here for. So I want to welcome everybody to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 53, right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also remember, hey, you can get this podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes for free. Rate us over there so you can show us some love. Also, go to the description box below so you can see the set full channel schedule. Also, go to our Facebook page. Go at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to forceinunison.wordpress.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, are you ready? I said, are you ready? For the no one in attendance and the 10 people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's Hot Topics of the Week.
My body is ready.
My body is ready. And Caleones, a little bit of mini news into one. So what is the first news tonight?
Well, the first news is, of course, like on the thumbnail, it is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Sakurai, sharing his thoughts on the reception of the game. He was saying that he was very worried that news about the game were going to be leaking and that some of the surprises were going to be missed, or at least they weren't going to have the punch that they had once they were finally announced at E3. But among those, he stated that the reception to the game was amazing. That he thinks that this is the first time that he saw such a tremendous reception. Just for a game promo, the uproar was beyond encouraging. To be honest, I'm really glad that it didn't leak. If it leaked that all characters will be in it, then it would not have gotten the same reception. I really wanted to avoid having the work of several years get smashed by someone who wanted his little moment to brag. It would have been over for us had the words all characters playable made it out there. It was a top secret project that many at Nintendo didn't even know about, and that's why you saw cheers even from those involved with Nintendo. Ice Climbers, Pokemon Trainer, and Wolf received usually loud cheering, not because they're popular characters, but because they weren't in the previous entry. I question what we'll do with the next title, and I feel that having all characters playable for Smash Bros. Ultimate may have been a Pandora's box that could ruin the possibilities for what's next in the series. However, honestly speaking, I'm not thinking about what's next. I'm just working hard on the best possible way to offer maximum satisfaction right now. Truth be told, I'm not getting any younger, and I don't think I'll be able to keep up with such dense workload forever, but the now is more important than later. I heard a lot of did you lose weight? Did you get thinner? And please take care of yourself after the presentation. But don't worry, I lost only about 6 kilograms. So nice to hear that Sakurai is pretty healthy. Because he takes such a big workload on him. But among those things, Dantes, one of the things that has people worried is that by having all the characters playable on this Smash Ultimate game, that they're not really going to be able to, outperform this game with the next entry. What are they going to do next? So, overall, with everything that he had to say, what do you have to say, Dantes?
So I think that's a good point to bring. What's next? Like, he's not thinking about what's next. He's just trying to make the best game possible, right? And what it feels like to me on this one is that I believe the next match, if it happens, it is without Sakurai. I think this is it. This is the last one. That's why he's saying ultimate. This is his last, I guess, masterwork Force match, which means that Nintendo will have to get a new creator. And basically, the next match, the only way that they can top this one is a Breath of the Wild type of reboot where you completely change the game, where you completely change what is known for Smash, the norm, something to that extent. Even maybe a game that becomes way more technical, a little bit less casual. I don't know if Nintendo would allow that, but at the same time, maybe something totally different where the fighting is totally different. The mechanics are totally different. So that's the only way I can see this. To me, Caleones, I know that it may sound like, because Hideo Kojima said plenty of times that the last Metal Gear was going to be his last Metal Gear, but he kept making Metal Gear. I don't know, but Sakurai feels like, even though he said a couple of times that he's done too, so he has the Hideo Kojima bug too, it feels like making Ultimate means to him, this is the end. I cannot do anything more with this franchise. So it's time for Nintendo to find something new and start over.
Yeah, I mean, as much excitement as I felt when I saw the words, like, everyone is here or everybody's here, it dawned on me that by doing so, it's kind of like you said, it's like a last goodbye to the franchise. Like, you're giving people, and I mean, when I say people, I mean every single person that has ever been a fan of Smash, you're giving them their character in the game, and you're basically, just rolling down the carpet, the curtains, closing them, walking away, and there's nothing else that can be done. I mean, if they do something else, one is not going to have as many characters, so they cannot, continue to do so. The amount of works that goes into having a game like this with so many characters, with so many fighting styles, with so many, hit points. Like, two characters, depending on, whichever size they are, how big, how small, if they're interacting with each other, fighting against each other, they, how each one connects and reacts to the other, that goes into it. So there's so many things that he has to take into account when making this game that it's going to be virtually impossible to just continue to do it over and over again. As far as the Nintendo Switch, one thing they don't need to worry about is releasing another Smash game. So if they release another one, it probably won't be for another 5 or 6 years. And if the game is going to come out in 5 or 6 years, they're probably not going to start working on it. Probably, in between 3 and 4 years before the game releases. That's when they're going to sit down. They're going to start thinking about what they're going to do, and they're going to get started on the game. So at least he can breathe for the next year or two. And in the meantime, just do some DLC, new stages, maybe new characters, and things like that. But I see the next Smash not on Switch, on another console, and I see it not having as many characters and probably being more like story oriented, like giving more story to each of the characters, having like not a single player story, but a unique storyline for each character, that goes through it. And one of the sequences that showed you that you can have something like that is, when they introduced Ridley at the end of the Smash Direct, where you had, Samus, you had Mario, and you had Mega Man, and they were walking down the corridor. So that was a pretty good sequence, and they could probably do sequences like that on the next game, given that the game itself a bigger storyline. So I think that's where they're going to be headed. But in the meantime, that's not going to be for another 5 years or so. And with this one, they can just continue to, like I said, more DLC, more character stages and things like that. So they don't have to worry about it now, but it is certainly something that they have to take into account later, because there will be a new Smash game eventually. I just worried how or who is going to be charged of it.
We shall see, Caleones, we shall see, but I do agree that I wouldn't mind like a big story mode with Smash and multiple characters, and I agree. I don't think the next match is going to be big, but we shall see. It's an exciting time. I am interested to see who takes the, the reins on Smash in the future, and how will it change the game, because I feel this is it, Ultimate. It is the last one. I feel that they cannot do any more with this formula. It's time to evolve it, Caleones. It's time to evolve it. But anyway, with that said, Caleones, there was a couple two small Smash news that we wanted to discuss. Go ahead and talk to them about.
Well, and the this Smash news is going to be very exciting for everybody that is going to get Smash, or those that are kind of like on the borderline, thinking about getting it. It seems that there is no confirmation. Nintendo hasn't said that it is going to happen, but they're talking about the possibility of giving Smash a demo, quote unquote, like ARMS and
like
Splatoon
a beta, something like that.
Yes. So so we'll see if that's going to be the case. If that, I mean, if they're going to do it, and I mean, like you had the, I think it was the for Splatoon 2, they did it before the game, and that was the first official Splatfest, the one that they did, right before the game released itself, and. For ARMS, they did the same thing. Of course, they had the big tournaments as well, and they had at E3 the big Smash tournaments also. So I believe that that's going to be something that they will do. Don't expect all the characters to be available for it. It's just going to be a small selection of characters. But if they do it, I'll definitely going to get it. You probably would get it too. We probably would do, one of those, Force In Unison streams.
Yeah.
Yes. So we would probably, do something like that on here. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great idea if they do so. Hopefully they do.
We shall see. I think it's a good idea that they would do something like ARMS and do a beta to kind of maybe balance the characters. And if there's one community that's gonna give you some feedback, trust me, it's the Smash community of the wazoo. I think there's the most needy community sometimes in the world. So I will say this is a good idea. Nintendo, do it. We wouldn't mind doing it and doing it well, of course. Anyway, with that, Caleones, let's go to the third Smash news to end our Smash hot topic cycle.
Well, and the next one is that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be playable at the Nintendo's Evo 2018 booth. So, for anybody that's going to be attending, that's going to be in between August 3rd and August 5th. You can go there. You can play the game. If you do so, take recordings and let us know. We can probably post the footage on our website, Twitter, or even here. So, guys, take advantage of the game. For those of you that really want to play it, that's going to be a great opportunity for you to get your hands on the game.
Hopefully, if you guys have a chance to play the game, let us know. Not much to say about this news. It's happening. It's a tournament, and this is what Smash is made for big tournaments. And that's why I think Nintendo, quietly, right, is making their own little corner in the competitive environment, Caleones. So it's pretty interesting how a company who's known for not big multiplayer games has their own couple of big multiplayer games that are considered like really hardcore competitive. So interesting, Caleones. But anyway, with that, let's go with some good news, Caleones. Some good news. And please remind me after the discussion of the news, I do want to do a call out, a little bit of a rant. So go ahead, Caleones, and go with the newest hot ticket in town aside from Fortnite, Octopath Traveler.
Okay, so I guess the next piece of news is that this past week, Nintendo saw the release of two big titles. One was Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is a port of the Wii U title on the Switch, and the other one was the Square Enix's Octopath Traveler. So the game, they came out worldwide, but especially in Japan, it seems that Octopath Traveler caught both Nintendo and Square Enix by surprise, and the game sold out completely. They did not make enough copies of the game, thinking that based on Bravely Default's 2 sales, as well as the smaller I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphear, that the game may not sell as much as like bigger titles, but it did. And on its first week, because it sold out, it was able to get to a little over 110,000 copies sold for Octopath Traveler. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker still did great. It sold 41,000 copies, almost 42,000, and that's for a Wii U port, so that's still good for the game. But how surprised are you about Octopath Traveler's sales, Dantes?
Well, and I'm gonna put you back to you just a minute, because you mentioned there was something that came out when I was playing basketball. You texted me and you mentioned something that is really interesting. Can you elaborate, Caleones, on what I'm talking about?
Okay, so I mean, one of the other messages that I sent today is that Octopath Traveler was re-released. Well, not re-released, but they had another shipment. The shipment came out in Japan again, and within 3 hours, it sold out again. So it seems like the Square Enix, it won't be until probably like the first week or August or so that they can bring a big allotment of copies for the game. But the game continues to sell out over and over again, and for me, that's great, great news for the title.
There you go. Okay, so as you guys see, Octopath Traveler, hot ticket in town, doing Fortnite numbers. No, I'm joking. Anyway, great game. I want to play this game. Like, I already have it set up, and I'm thinking that this is my January game. Like, if you know me as a gamer, I'm more into seasons. Like right now, I'm starting to catch finally the platinum bug. So I finally did Crash 2. I'm going through Crash 3 quick. I want to do Undertale quick and a couple of quick plats before we get to Spider-Man. So I got the plat bug right now. But I know that Xenoblade Chronicles, the Torna DLC, is going to take a lot of time coming up. It's basically a standalone RPG. So I'm really pumped for that. So January, Caleones, seems like the perfect time. It's like it's winter. You don't do much outside. You just stay in. Octopath Traveler. I'm pinning it for January, hopefully. I want to play it now, but I also have to keep March because I have really a struggle with my list. I make lists, people. I make lists of what games I'm going to play this year, and it's been shitty. And Dig, what up? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Long time no see, Dig. Anyway, so great numbers. I am really happy for a game like this selling so well. Again, I laugh because Square said that they were surprised how well Bravely Default sold, and now they're going the same rigmarole and saying, oh, I'm surprised how this game, Octopath Traveler, is selling so well. Why are you so surprised? People like old school JRPGs. People would prefer sometimes old school JRPGs done well, evolve old school JRPGs. And I think everybody thought that the evolution of JRPGs was going to be bigger graphics, biggest worlds, stuff like that. No, you can have both. You can have your big AAA JRPG, but you can also have your smaller scale title that doesn't cost you that much to make, but it will make you money. And Octopath Traveler is the perfect example of a game that sells well, that deserves the sales, and I mean, you look at the game, if you play old school Super NES and PlayStation 1 games, the graphics is an evolution of that, which really makes it's a beautiful game. I'm telling you guys, it's a beautiful, beautiful game. But before I go into my rant, Caleones, anything to add about the sales of Octopath Traveler?
Well, I mean, of course, I know that there's people still waiting out there trying to get their hands on the game, and they cannot because it's sold out. But to me, it's very exciting hearing the news that the game is sold out, because it's kind of like us when we first heard the news about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 finally getting to 1 million copies sold within a month or so. We were excited about the sales number because we know what Nintendo and Monolith Soft did with the game, and that they put their heart and soul into it. And I know that Square Enix and their development team put their heart and soul into Octopath Traveler. Their dev diaries that they were releasing about what they were doing with the game showed me that they were doing their all to make this a worthwhile adventure, and it is. For basically every place that you go to, even places that are not giving the game a high score, it's more so because of the story may not be connected, but they praise the graphics, they praise the effects, they praise the battle system, they praise the game, even on the ones that are not as high score as the other ones. So I mean, still the game is both critical, commercial success. I want to know how fast it's going to get to 1 million copies, because to me it will get to 1 million copies and not too long. If the sales from Japan compared to how it sells worldwide, and considering that especially in the US, JRPGs have been selling better than in Japan, then that has me excited. So yeah, I'm excited about also the possibilities of what this means going forward, not only for Octopath Traveler 2 or for other games that could receive the Octopath Traveler treatment, because this is an engine that should be revisited with other entries, for different games as well.
So before I go to my rant, I will add something that you just said. I think is pretty interesting. Using the engine, reusing the engine. I Am Setsuna. It's a good looking game, but it looks more like an old school PS1 type of RPG where you have some graphics that are rough around the edges. This game mixing sprite with the HD feels and effect looks better than I am Setsuna, and I'm guessing with this engine, Square could create some really good RPGs that are nice looking, cheap, and if they just sell a couple of 100,000, they make their money back. We're not asking you to sell 6 or 7 million and stuff like that. No, I think I'm fine. I'm happy with Xenoblade Chronicles sales numbers, and I am happy about Octopath Traveler because that shows you that you don't need big budget games to be successful. Now, I go to my rant, Caleones. You don't know which rant I'm gonna do, so I give shit to Nintendo fans because sometimes they do a lot of port begging, right? I hate port begging. I am not a hypocrite. I'm gonna call it out when I see it. I've been seeing Sony fanboys port begging for Octopath Traveler. Stop it. You guys, more than anybody, get 95% of all the games out there. If you want to pay Octopath Traveler, go buy a damn Nintendo Switch. If you don't like it, that is business. And systems are designed by their exclusives. Exclusives are the reason you buy a system. Why do you think that I deal with the Nintendo Switch in a sense that I would prefer all the Nintendo Switch games look like God of War and Spider-Man and shit like that? But you know why I buy a Switch? Because they have a couple of my favorite franchises of all time, which includes Zelda and Xenoblade Chronicles. That is the business you're in. If you want to pay Octopath Traveler, buy a damn Switch. Now, if someday it comes to your preferred console, hey, good for you, but don't start port begging. It just looks bad, and more so from a fan base who gets 95% of all the games in the industry. That was it, Caleones. Simple rant. Just wanted to call him out. Anything to add?
No. I just went ahead and share your quote on the chat to put the emphasis on what it is really important. So so yeah, I mean, it goes the same way. Like there are certain games that I wish that were on the Switch, but this is more so. It's not. I'm not asking for like Uncharted to be on the Switch or for Halo to be on the Switch or things like that. I'm asking for Spyro to be on the Switch because it is already on the PlayStation, it is already on the Xbox, and it is already a platform type of game. So games like those, I can understand people asking for those, but if it is an exclusive that belongs to only one system, then yeah, I mean, those are the ones that you shouldn't really be port begging.
Square is a third party, and this is a third party game. They just decided, if you know this section of Square, I guess you could put this developer team. They typically make games for the Nintendo handheld, right? They barely default, and they're doing this game, so it's their expertise is probably there, and that's the reason why this game is exclusive. So I do understand the port begging, but I still hate it. I don't care if it's a third party game. Nier Automata being asked to come for the Switch. No, don't care. Stop the port begging. If you want something, I know I'm asking this. I know that it's not everybody has money to own all the systems. I understand that. I understand. But at the same time, port begging just shows nothing. Really, what have you gotten with port begging? That's my point. A lot of people just port beg, thinking that it's going to come in and never comes in. Is Grand Theft Auto 5 ever going to come out of the Switch? No. And by this time, you should have played Grand Theft Auto 5. But Octopath Traveler, it is not on PlayStation. It is not on Xbox. It is not on PC. Deal with it. If you want to play it that hardcore that much, buy a Switch, because that means if you really want to play Octopath Traveler, you like JRPGs, and I make my buying selections on systems that I know are going to get me the games that I like. And what is one of my favorite genres, Caleones? JRPGs. The Switch is a JRPGs beast of a machine. If you really like that much JRPGs, buy a damn Switch. Buy a damn Switch.
Yeah, and I want to add, I mean, just something that people here can look forward to. This, I know that he is saying that you should not be port begging. I'm gonna convince Dantes to do another video. Hopefully, we can release the video soon, and it's not gonna be about port begging for games. It's gonna be about port or begging for remakes of game using existing engine types of it. So please look forward to our our
Okay.
top 5 games that we hope receive the Octopath Traveler treatment. And I figured that most of those are going to be from the NES, Super NES, and and those that generation, PS1 as well. So look forward to that video. Hopefully we can have it soon.
Xenogears,
But
Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 4, Chrono Trigger. Anyway, I'm already done with the video.
that's 4. You still need one more. The,
We'll discuss it if it convinces me. Anyway, with that, I'm done with that one. Let's go with the third hot topic, Caleones. And could be something big. Good news for the Switch and Switch owners in not needing to port back in the future. But go ahead, Caleones.
Okay, well, and the next big news is that Epic Game has significantly improved the Nintendo Switch development with Unreal Engine 4.2 update. So, I mean, not only is this going to be making current versions of games better, but going forward, it also allows the possibility of even having better version of games or more games that are currently not available on the system to be available on the system. So that way they can make sure that it's easier to optimize the games, which is one of the things that keeps certain games from coming over to the console. Of course, it's going to offer and debug it. So I'll say the turning points: support for dynamic resolution and temporal upsampling, low latency frame syncing for controller input, significant CPU rendering optimizations, improvements to threading, better texture compression, support for memory profiling, back buffer support for 1080p while in duck mode, and other fixes as well. So, how people should approach this type of news? Like, how big is this news, Dantes?
Well, I believe, and I put it in the hot topics because I believe it is an important, maybe not a huge news, but it's an important news. And what I mean with that is that now you could see more companies like Panic Button becoming I would put it a port type of development team where you're just dedicated to port games to the Switch. You see how Panic Button is doing really well. Their business is growing immensely ever since they have proven to be knowledgeable with the Switch architecture. So imagine now if you have another couple of Panic Buttons being dedicated to do ports for the Switch. That way you could probably expand the library for the Switch. And here's the reason why it needs to happen now, Caleones. And I don't want to sound like, oh, it's the end of the world, but it needs to happen now if Nintendo Switch is going to get more third-party, a lot of third-party on this Switch system. The next Xbox, and the next PlayStation is closing in soon. At that point, the power is just going to be too much for those games to be ported down to the Switch, in my opinion. I may be wrong. I'm just saying. So right now, you have maybe a 2-year window right now, Caleones, where you have a lot of games that you could try to port to the Switch. The Switch has a nice install base that some developers or companies or publishers, in this case, need to take advantage. So having these tools being improved upon faster or this soon may help with that 2-year window that we are seeing the companies or Nintendo itself needs to take advantage and make more deals for third-party games. So hopefully this makes it cheaper, this makes it easier to port, and we will see more third-party support on the Switch.
Yeah, and that's something that okay, so when it comes to the handheld aspect of the Nintendo Switch, I mean, you can say it is both a blessing and a curse. It is a blessing because you can play games anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, but in a way, it is a curse because it has its limitations. You cannot just like put more memory, put a bigger battery, or do things like that because that causes the console to heat up, and it could damage the components or things like that,
crack.
or crack. Yeah.
Joking.
But yeah, not because of that. But at the same time, or it could cause the battery life to be 30 minutes. So I mean, if you were to put the power of a PS4 or let's say a PS4 Pro on a Nintendo Switch as it is, the battery life will probably be like 20-30 minutes at most. I mean, it'll be something that nobody would be happy with it. Like, it is unacceptable. But it is not because Nintendo doesn't want to do it. It's because the aspect as it is right now, it has a limitation unless they do something where the dock itself has more RAM or Something like that. But that takes away from the handheld. Like if they do it, you no longer will be able to play those games on the handheld unless they create the games with like PC specifications where you have the high settings on the high end systems, and then you have the low settings on a system like the Switch, which it would be the low settings once the Xbox Two and the PS5 roll
Son.
around. Yes, so the only time that it will be possible to play, PS5 and Xbox Two games on the Nintendo Switch as it is currently is if those games are streamed. But in order you'll be able to stream games and play them, one, you have to have a fast internet connection because with all the buffering and the loading of it, because the games could still look pretty much crappy if you don't have a fast internet to play them on. Um, Eventually, once all the games are either digital or streamed, which I believe in the future, at some point, that's what's going to happen. Probably not in 10 or 20 years, but that's where we're headed when it comes to video games. But even if Nintendo were to release a Nintendo Switch Pro, I don't think they will be able to get to close the gap with a PS5 or Xbox Two because of the battery life again. Because it would be a lot less than the 3 hours that the system has right now at most. So yes, this is when Nintendo not only needs to take advantage of getting those third party games, but at the same time it is when Nintendo needs to have those great relationships with those, with developers that they can get games like Octopath Traveler, which are made by third-party companies, but they're console exclusives, and that's how Nintendo can live not just with Nintendo exclusives, but with console exclusives, from third parties. So we'll see what happens. I still believe that Nintendo always upgrades their handhelds. We had the 3DS, we had the 3DS XL, we had the new 3DS, the 2DS as well. So they always improve their handhelds, and the Switch is not going to be an exception. They're going to do so as well. But the limitations of handheld is what's going to keep it from getting a lot more of the games that they can currently can. Because right now you can still get Wolfenstein 2, you can still get Doom, you can still get Skyrim, but that won't be the case in probably like 3 or 4 years.
What up, Even Stevens? Welcome down to the chat. Welcome, welcome. I'll say this, Caleones. Okay, it's fine. And you're right. I mean, being portable could be a curse too, and getting those games. You think that it's like 4 years. I think it's less. I think in 2 years, maybe 3 tops, is where you start seeing third parties just leaving the Switch behind because of the power of the next Xbox and the next PlayStation. But here's something, and please don't get mad at Nintendo if they do it. I believe that the Switch only has a 5-year cycle. I honestly believe, and it is the world the technology is moving today's day and age. I believe that in 5 years, and Nintendo needs to do it, in my opinion, they need to have a Switch 2, a more powerful Switch that can at least keep up somewhat to the Xbox 2, to the PlayStation 5. Because technology is just moving too fast. We're not in the same day and age where you could buy a console, Caleones, and you can expect 6 years. Last generation, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox lasted for over 10 years. I think that's done. I think cycles are going to go even smaller, Caleones, and I believe that the only way some companies like Sony and Xbox are extending the cycle is by having the mid-gen refresh. So either Nintendo throws a Switch Pro to keep up with the other 2 handhelds, but that means that there's going to be some games that you're not going to be able to play on the original Switch, which that means that will divide your fan base. Or B, Nintendo just buys the bullet, and in 5 years they're dropping another Switch that is just, hey, I know in 5 years it is what it is. Get it, because you're going to get more powerful games and third-party games, X, Y, and Z. Sell it to people. Why do you need the next Switch, in my opinion? And I'm fine with that. And again, I understand some people don't have all the money in the world. I understand, but we change phones every 2 years. Technology is just moving too fast. Nintendo, in my opinion, need to at some point bring the Switch Pro or the Switch 2. Anyway, anything to add on that, Caleones, before we move?
I mean, you say that you change phones every 2 years, but there's people that change phones every year. Like as soon as the new iPhone comes out, they get it. As soon as the new, Samsung Galaxy phone comes out, they get it. And that, that's at least every year. Same with the iPad. Same with like the technology, because the technology, it improves so fast that something that just came out today is probably going to be obsolete in 6 months to a year, especially with people that are from the PC master race and they keep up with their computers and keeping it with the high end specs. They know how fast technology moves. So I mean, one of the things that they were talking about a month ago is how there was a new micro SD card that's going to be coming out that is going to be 128 terabytes of maximum capacity, and it's going to be almost 1 gigabyte per second when it comes to the speed. That's now. But I mean, of course, something like that is going to be extremely expensive right now. But in 5 years, everything is going to get smaller. It's going to get faster. And yes, 5 years is going to be a good time for the Switch to get a revision with how fast technology changes. 5 years, it's a lifetime from going, from the first, the original Switch to the new Switch. And I wouldn't worry at all because, to me, one of the great things about the Switch is the game card. The cartridges are extremely small. They're a lot smaller than the 3DS cartridge. And I think they could still get smaller. They could get to the size of a micro SD card, even though I wouldn't recommend it because that's when you really start losing them.
Yep.
But I believe that the cartridge is the perfect size so that they can still keep the same slot on the new system, and you can have backwards compatibility with the original Switch games on a new Switch system. So so I think 5 years is going to be perfect. Hopefully it happens because that way Nintendo can keep up with how the other companies do. And I know we tend to say Nintendo is not competing with anybody. They're going at the beat of their own drum, but it does matter for them to be able to get certain third-party games because it shows them that they're still trying, and for people to invest on the system, they know that they will be able to get certain games, or at least that Nintendo will be trying to get certain games on the system so they can look forward to not just Nintendo-only games, but to other games as well.
Okay. I think we're good with that, Caleones, and we're done with Hot Topics this week. So let's go quickly. We're already 37 minutes in. So let's go quickly to Onuma's Newsburst. And I may not never put a soundbite just for the shitty sound effects. Anyway, with that said, Caleones, what is the first piece of news of Newsburst this week?
So the first piece of news is that there's some rumors out there that some versions of the official Spyro Reignited Trilogy website are listing the Nintendo Switch as an option for their order. So that tells you that yes, Spyro hasn't been officially announced for the Switch, but that it's out there and that at some point it will. Some people were believing, like us, that it may be announced at E3. It did not, but we believe that there's going to be another Nintendo Direct out there soon. And maybe that's when they will, or they're just waiting until the game launches on the PS4, Xbox One. It runs its course with the sales, and then they release it on the Switch. So we'll see.
Hopefully that's not the case. I mean, I hate port begging, but if there's one game that really needs to be on the Switch, is this one. I mean, it's so stupid if Activision doesn't bring it. But anyway, we shall see, Caleones. We shall see.
And the next piece of news is that Pokemon 2019 will have the same kind of feeling as the previous games on handheld systems. I mean, don't go freak out and say, hey, they're making it to look exactly like the original Game Boy game. That's how the graphics are going to be. That's not what they're saying. But they said that as for the 2019 title, we are working with the idea that everyone will be playing on their own Switch. It'll have the same kind of feeling as the previous games on handheld systems. There have been times where you couldn't bring Pokemon over from previous titles. I imagine that created some bad memories. I want to try and change that if I can. So, I mean, you know how they have the Pokemon Bank, and the Pokemon Bank is what they're using to, so you can transfer Pokemon from other games. They released some, digital versions of the original Game Boy titles on the Nintendo 3DS, and you can get Pokemon from those titles over to the system. So, with the Switch version, it seems like they're going to be going maybe the way of the Let's Go games, where they're kind of like starting over, getting some Pokemon, but hopefully they can have, if it's a continuation of the last games that came out on the 3DS, And if it is a new generation, then hopefully you can find a way to get all 800 plus Pokemons on the system. And it seems like that's what they're going to be doing. So, I mean, anything you want to add to this?
Uh, I agree. I think that the future Caleones is again having the back catalog of Pokemon or whatever into this. It needs to be that way because if you're doing Smash Bros. Ultimate and saying every fighter is in the game, they want to see every Pokemon probably in the game too. Now the other piece though that I would say is I do scare a little bit of this next Pokemon will have the feeling of the originals because in my opinion they need to evolve the formula. It is time to evolve it. If this game is just gonna be another Pokemon game, I don't know. It is the Pokemon company; they don't care, and they're still making a lot of money, so they may not change it. But in my opinion, I'm not a Pokemon player, so I see it more maybe on the outside and say I think it's time for an evolution. Maybe that's not the case, Caleones, but anyway, we shall see. We shall see next year.
Okay, well, going over with the next piece of news, and yeah, this is for Dragon Quest fans. Just to kind of like reassure you, Square Enix said that yes, they're still working on Dragon Quest 11 for the Nintendo Switch, but that of course it is still in development and it is still a ways off. So they said that there will be indeed a Nintendo Switch version of the game, but it is still in development and it is quite a ways off. So I mean, no other updates for the game right now as it is. They're concentrating on the PS4 release of it, and eventually we will see it on the Switch. Just don't really expect it to be anytime soon.
Yeah, I think this is just, hey, we got you. It's coming. Just be patient. It's coming. So be patient, I guess. I know it sucks. I also wish that we have more games that came out day and day with the other consoles. It's not the case for this one. Just have a little patience. If the Switch, hey, at least take this solace. If the Switch is your preferred console, they announce the game. They're telling you it's coming. It's just going to probably take a year more than a year after the release of the PlayStation 4 version.
Okay, going over with the next piece of news, and this is coming from Dark Horse Comics. They had released the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, creating a champion art book. That is set. The new one is set to launch on the 20th, which is going to be the Heroes edition of it. On this new version, it's going to add. It's going to have nearly 50 pages of sketches and official illustrations from Takumi Wada. It's going to have 296 pages of design artwork and commentary about the making of the game from creators, a 55-page historical section that divulges an in-depth history of the Hyrule Breath of the Wild, interviews with key members of the development team, including Hideo Fujibayashi, Satoru Takiusawa, Takumi Wada, and Eiji Aonuma. So that's going to be coming out on November 20th. So please look forward to it. I don't know if I will be able to get it, but if I can get away with spending more money, I will definitely get it.
I'm not going to get it unless they say that they're going to tell me where Breath of the Wild falls in the timeline.
Or if they're going to tell us where any of the Zelda games fall in the timeline.
Well, remember, that already came out officially from Nintendo, dude. The only game that we don't know where it falls right now is Breath of the Wild. You know that, right?
Well, do you want to take a guess where it does?
No. I wish. I'm the believer right now.
Well, which timeline? Because there's
three timelines, right? There's the Hero Fall timeline, and there's Child Link timeline, and there's the Adult Link timeline. I'm getting too much into Zelda nerdiness here, but I believe with this new game that all three timelines converted somehow, and then this game just continues all three games, in my opinion. Now, how did it happen? I don't know. That's just my theory belief based on what I heard and some YouTube theorists, how they explain it. Some people believe this game falls in the Hero Fails timeline. I don't know. I don't like it there because there's even stuff in the games that makes you think that it falls in the adult timeline, but then there's stuff that makes you think that it falls in the child timeline. So it's really, I don't think there's a right path. That's why I believe in the conversion of all three timelines into this game, which maybe someday we'll know, Caleones. But go ahead. I don't want to get into Zelda timelines here because it's a mess.
Well, I actually spelled it wrong. I was just kind of like making fun of you in the comment section, saying that it was your Zelda nerdgasm moment.
Sure, that's
But
fine. I
yeah,
mean,
but
it's
hey,
close enough. Spanglish.
but Well, guys, if you guys want to see a full video of Dantes talking about the timelines, post it on on the comment section. I will consider it,
That's
even
really
though
hard. It's
yes,
a messed
it's
up
gonna
timeline.
yes it will. But going over with the next piece of news, this is when the South Park a fractured but whole game came out for the Nintendo Switch. It was actually lacking the stick of truth, which I believe came with the versions for the PS4 and Xbox One, but now they actually announced that South Park Stick of Truth will be coming digitally for the Nintendo Switch. It seems like it's not going to receive a retail version, but digitally it should be available. And that's going to be on first quarter of 2019, which is anywhere from I believe is until March of 2019 or so. I think that's how they do it. So that's when you can expect the stick of truth, but still, the fractured butthole is still out there. So please go ahead and get that game. Enjoy South Park until the new one comes out, or the old one comes
And
out
the
digitally.
DLC too, which is coming too. So anyway,
Yes, so it's all going to be collected
good for
together.
Nintendo. I mean, this game, I believe that should have come as soon as the Fracture But Hell came. So it's good. Good for Nintendo. I think it deserves to be on the Switch.
Okay, well, with the next piece of news, and this is a game that if you're big into, YouTubers, if you watch people like FGTV or Dan TDM or those type of YouTubers, Hello Neighbor, is one of the games that you have seen them play. It is a game that has been available, I believe, for a couple of months on the Xbox One, and it's gonna be coming over to the Nintendo Switch. It will be available on the eShop and it will retail for $40 on there. So we already have it for the Xbox. My son loves the game. He absolutely loves the game. We're considering maybe just selling our Xbox One copy and getting it on the Switch instead. So because I think that's it's going to be the perfect way, to play the game on the TV or on the go. And I think it's a game that will be perfect for the system. So July 27, Hello Neighbor, Nintendo Switch. With the next piece of news is that Digimon Survive will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2019. I'm guessing 2019 before the holiday season, so it doesn't really coincide with the release of Pokemon. But for those Digimon fans, this is great news. The game will have the conversations have 2D images, also have choices that will change story or even evolutions. Seems like Lincoln Point style field investigations. Battles are strategy style with square grids, has energy as key factor, and protagonist is A grader with Agumon as partner. This is going to be coming. That's how Black Kite has described the game, and it's also going to be available on the PlayStation 4. But Pokemon fans, Digimon is it used to be neck and neck with Pokemon in the earlier days, or at least for the first couple of years. It did tail off eventually, and Pokemon, of course, is it overtook pretty much everything worldwide. But still, Digimon coming to the Switch, and for those fans, that's great news.
Okay.
And with the last piece of news is that Batman: The Enemy Within has appeared on the ESBR or ESRB rating system and has been rated for the Nintendo Switch. It doesn't really have a release date, but I believe the game itself will come with all the 5 episodes, so it will be the collected edition for the Switch. They already had the Batman the Telltale game come out on the Switch, but The Enemy Within will be available as well.
This is one of the games that I want to play before Spider-Man comes in. I like the first Batman Telltale game. I recommend this game. And Caleones is looking for something. He's going to show us. There it is. You played it?
So yeah,
Have you played it yet?
Well, I haven't finished it because I keep getting review codes to do other games and things like that. So, one of the games I'm finishing the review for is The Hand of Fate 2, which I have to write it. I have 2 more that I'm going to be playing afterwards, and of course, we got to do the streams for this. But I started the game. Game looks great, plays great, and the storyline, it is a good storyline. I know that people downplay Telltale games because they pretty much use the same engines, but that's graphic wise. The game still looks great. And Dantes, you play the game.
Yep.
Tell people how good it is.
It's really good. Really good. I played the game. Me being a big Batman fan hurt me in the game because I made certain decisions thinking about those characters, how they would act, but they completely change Batman methods, and characters that you think you know how they would act, they don't act the same, which is made the game more surprising, more awesome, and I believe don't sleep on it. I want to play the second one too, and that's one of the games that I really want to hit maybe before Spider-Man comes into my doorstep, but we shall see if I have the time. But yes, go play it. Recommend it.
Yeah, so for those of you that are disappointed with the DC universe or with the new Titans that's going to be releasing for DC's streaming service, just go back and enjoy these type of stories because they really get what makes the game or the character great.
Yep.
And we're done.
We're done with the news. Thank you, Caleones, for finishing on Numa's news burst. But it's time to take a walk. Take a walk with me, and let's go to our favorite store, which is Chigaro's Supermarket. Bing. So what is in the store today, Caleones?
Okay, so for the releases of the week, we have Vertical Strike Endless Challenge, The Moose Man, Animal Rivals Nintendo Switch Edition, Tansia, Starship Avenger Operation The Back Earth, Sausage Sports Club, Pure Electric Love, Look at My Eyes, Mo Yamauchi, Pure Electric Love, Everyone Else, Emma Sakura, Pool Panic, No Reload Heroes, Lost Phone Stories, Guts and Glory, Frost, Chicken Assassins Reloaded, Battle Supremacy,
God.
Arcade Archive City Connection, and Neo Geo's League Bowling. We also have a Werewolf Paintball, VSR Void Racing, Spheroids, Hiroki, and Arcade Archives Sky Skipper. So for those of you that were expecting, to be a couple of heavy hitters on here, last week we had Octopath Traveler and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. So we are getting a rest for those, from those big titles. And like I said, those are the titles of the week. Just don't make me say which one's going to be my game of the week because I don't know. I really don't know.
Nintendo, you're scaring me. Stop making this like Steam. Is the only thing I'm going to say. I really don't want to make this every show and just say 20 games that we don't know crap about. Just saying. Anyway, with that, we're done with the show, Caleones. Boom. And of course, we're ending with some cool Xenoblade music. Yes, you're going to camp tomorrow. You're excited. I'm so excited. So that's good. Have some fun tomorrow. Anyway, thank you for joining us on the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast, episode 53, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MS happy. Also remember, we do have a little Facebook page called @Force In Unison Gaming. I switched it up today. Also, please remember, go to the description box below so you can get the full channel schedule of all the shows. Go also and watch our trailer. It is uploaded so you guys have a taste of what's coming. So remember, today's the Get In and Get Out. Tomorrow, it's going to be PlayStation Mondays. So join me tomorrow where I may play a little bit more Crash. I'm on Crash 3, so Caleones, I need the thumbnail for Crash. Anyway, with that, also, go to forceinunison.wordpress.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, thank you again for joining us tonight. And of course, long live Nintendo. Good night, everybody.